Some people want to put the camera in one setting and leave it there, and others think that to be a pro, you have to shoot in manual mode all the time and nothing else. But photography isn't like that at all. There are different settings for different shooting environments, so utilize them all for better photos. I've shot a lot of sporting events, from water sports like kite surfing right through to road racing, and all of these have the element of speed, so you need to be quick to capture those moments. Now, manual mode does give you ultimate control, but it does this by sacrificing speed. So instead of getting the shot, you might miss the moment whilst racing to get the camera at the right setting. So if you're shooting sports, try shutter priority, and then control the shutter speed with your main dial so you have control over how much motion blur you are getting in your shots. If it's too blurry from the speed of the subject, make your shutter speed faster. If you want to induce some motion blur, start by dropping your shutter speed until you get it right where you want. Then all you need to do is use the exposure compensation dial, which is the plus minus dial or button, to control your overall exposure. If it's too dark, push your exposure compensation to the plus side, and if it's too bright, push it to the minus side. Aperture priority gives you control over depth of focus in your shot, but you sacrifice the opportunity to control your shutter speed. So if you're shooting something that you want to isolate from the background, switch to aperture priority, which is A or AV on your mode dial. Then play with the aperture settings with your main dial, and once again use the exposure compensation to get the right overall exposure. With manual mode, when you're in a much more controlled environment or you have time to set the camera up, that's when it's fantastic, and that's when you can really dial in those settings. I use manual mode all the time when I'm shooting the stars. You have plenty of time, so you can really dial in those settings and get the shot that you want. You can take test shots, check it out, change your settings, take another test shot, and so on and so forth until you get exactly what you want. So each mode has advantages and disadvantages, and in knowing these, you can take advantage of each to become a faster shooter. I use aperture priority for a lot of my general walk around shots, so I have control over my depth of focus, and then I let the camera do everything else. Then if I'm shooting sports, I'll go with shutter priority for really fast moving subjects. If I have lots of time to set up the photograph, I'll then go across to manual mode, and this will give me ultimate control over my photographs, so I can really dial in each one of the principal settings: aperture, shutter speed, and ISO. Now, which setting do you use the most? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want to learn more about your principal settings, click on this next tutorial here. And if you want to learn more about manual mode, click on this tutorial down here. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe for weekly tutorials every Monday and Thursday. I'll see you next time.